You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. That's why you have tuned in today to the Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. And you've tuned in for one reason and one reason only. And it's a great reason, actually, because you tuned in because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. That's right. And when you become the best you possible, it's make the world a better place. You build bridges, you create more harmony, you create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. So thank you for being you and being here. And you also know that when you tune into this show, that we work here with the three fundamentals of life. And these three fundamentals are, number one, life, your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, you can now, number two, and there's a good number two, go mad. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And number three fundamental of life is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simplest example, right now, this show, The Joy of Living, is being carried over that magical, mystical, mythical platform called the internet. So you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, they'll tell you it has to do with the internet. And factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for, drum roll, fanfare, da-da, da-da. What a wonderful world. And what is the word, right? What a wonderful world. And of course, a tip of the hat and a big thank you to Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, for enabling that show, that song to go viral and touch not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. And whenever you hear the words, the opening sounds of that song, what a wonderful world, what do you do right away? You can't help it, you smile. Now, SMILE is one of the most important acronyms, words you'll ever utilize, internalize, and leverage in your life, because SMILE stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. So when I last spoke with a face-to-face audience just before COVID, and God willing, we'll be through with this whole thing very soon. The masquerade is over. Forget about it. COVID will be in a bad memory in a year or so. I was speaking to a group of 5,200 people in the auditorium, and I'm telling the story about Barry Shore, and I'm talking about some smiles, seeing miracles in life every day, and people raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours, I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you see? Can you stand still? I can't. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water to drink? Do you have food to eat? Do you have a place to sleep? Family, friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simple as proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. So if you're watching this or listening to it, by definition, you didn't. And if you're alive, you have an obligation to live exuberantly. That's the whole purpose of life. Life stands for living inspirationally for eternity, which is what our amazing guest is about today. He lives life to the full. Now, speaking of that, you are joined at this very moment, by the way, by 348,613 people around the world, all tuning into the joy of living for one reason only, because you care the most about you. And you know that by utilizing the information and the transformation of what's being given over today, you will become happier, healthier, and wealthier. And who doesn't want that? I guarantee it. And so does our guest. Happier, healthier, wealthier. When you utilize the transformative ideas that are going to be offered today by one of the most remarkable people that I've ever been blessed to know in my life. He transforms the lives of millions of people around the world also. And we're going to be speaking with him in just a few minutes. And first, I want to share with you a couple of things that one is, imagine the following. Standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leave tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening be in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. And not from an automobile accident, not a spinal injury. That was me. I had a rare disease that took over my body. I never heard of the disease the day before and rendered me what's called a quadriplegic. Nothing on my body moved. Nothing. 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't turn over by myself. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, from my hips to my ankles, for a year and a half. And that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand, but I still can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of one word. And that word is smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a couple of weeks ago and says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile, S-M-I-E-L? And I thought about it. I said, sounds the same. How come? And why not? Why would you do that? She said, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of babes. Isn't that wonderful? But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world that she wants to live in. Now, create is a fabulous word that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Rethinking, you have a brain, 100 billion brain cells and 120 trillion synapses connecting all those brain cells, and they're there for more than deciding what kind of latte you want this morning. The ability to do neuro-linguistic programming to really decide how you want to live. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. The 6 most important words you'll ever utilize in your life. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. So before we bring on our guests, I want to warn you in advance that your humble host, Barry Shore, does use a lot of 4-letter words. And I even use the 4-letter FU word. I do it because it's the shock value and it's fun. But the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, 4-letter words that we use are love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, pray, play, swim. 4-letter words. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes. F-U, capital N, capital N. Now people are saying Barry Shore. Fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and your friends who have a twinkle in your eye and a smile on your face, remember what it stands for, point your finger and say, F-U, everybody. But remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. I said, where'd you get that? I said, I listened to Barry Shore, The Joy of Living, and he wants to teach the world to F you, capital N, capital N. So just before we bring on the amazing Michael Gerber, I want to ask and urge everybody to the following. What I want you to do is to commit to using the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day from today forward for the rest of your life. And these 2 most powerful words in the English language are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama has been quoted as saying, I'd read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. He says, it's always possible. So imagine you walk into the coffee shop, no mask, and the COVID's gone. You order your fancy latte for $5. You sit down, and somebody brings it to you. You say, thank you. You walk into the coffee shop, and you order your fancy latte for $5. You sit down, a few minutes go by. Nobody brings it to you. So you go to the counter, and they say, oh, I'm sorry, we're busy. We'll bring it to you. Go sit down. A few more minutes go by. So somebody brings it to you. Say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop. It's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop and it's raining and somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're in traffic. You're late for an appointment. Somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. Kind stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I cannot think of anybody that inspires noble deeds that I would like to share with you more than the amazing, the wonderful, the indubitably wondrous Michael Gerber. Michael, please say hello to 349,000 people around the world.
Barry, 340 some odd thousand people around the world. I can't bear it.
By the way, and this is odd, Barry, but it's wondrous, Michael. Now, if you are living on this planet, and most of the people, Michael, by the way, under the age of 38. So sometimes they may not have said, Michael Gerber, I know that I heard the name. Yeah, the Michael Gerber, not the travel agent. No, the one who is the father and the author of E-Myth, capital E, M-Y-T-H, not miss, but myth. He has a lisp. And E-Myth, and E-Myth Revisited. And Michael, I'm going to ask you two questions. First of all, when was the last time somebody said F you to you and you laughed?
Yeah, I already knew about the FU part. I already heard about the FU part. I read about your FU part.
Right, FU, capital N, capital N. And again, just if you are in any way at all involved in business anywhere in the world, and by the way, Michael, our audience is most of them under the age of 38 and worldwide. We have thousands of people listening from China, communist China, but China, Hong Kong, of course, India, throughout Africa, Europe, United States, of course, Latin America, all over the world. And people,
the E-Myth Revisited is published in 30 languages.
What was that?
The E-Myth Revisited is published in 30 languages.
Okay, I just want to tell everybody.
So we can speak to them all.
The book E-Myth.
Yes.
And E-Myth Revisited, he just said to us, is translated into 30 languages. There is not a language that you can't read or write and not hear or learn about the E-Myth. And we're just going to dive right in. I wanted to say 4 things about Michael right away, though, because it's so important to understand some of the genius behind the man. Now, again, I'm embarrassing him. Yeah, by the way, he wears that hat all the time because when I start complimenting him, the head swells. So he puts the hat on to keep the head from swelling too much. Otherwise, you see, that's why. But listen to the idea of what he did. When he began writing the E-Myth decades ago, he was not just breaking new ground. He was delivering to the world his passion, his philosophy, his positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant outlook on life, business, and the integration of both of them, and the idea of relationships. Michael's books have been on the New York Times bestseller list, not for a year, not for 2 years, not for 5 years, not even 10, decades. 2 decades. Most of the people listening, some of them weren't even born then. His books have been in the New York Times bestseller for 2 decades. He is literally the world's #1 small business guru. He's not only written the E-Myth or the E-Myth Revisited, 28 business books on coaching, but really what his passion in life is the ability to literally help nurture people who start business. And we call them small business because everything starts smaller than it will be larger, God willing, later. And helping people understand not only the pitfalls, but the genius of what business is all about and what you can do to help assure yourself of success. And we're talking success not just by measuring your checking account or your business net worth. We're talking about success in every aspect of life, because that's who Michael Gerber is. He is successful in every aspect of life. So I just want to jump right in and ask you, wonderful Michael Gerber, first of all, thank you for being here, but just start us off on the path of why E-Myth Revisited and what is unique about it in the world and why today.
Well, it's a great question, Barry, and I'm delighted to answer the question. I need to go back a long time to truly appreciate what the E-Myth is and what the E-Myth intended to be, what the E-Myth actually has achieved in all these years. since I founded my very first business development firm in 1977. So the very beginning of this work truly was created on the street, you might say, in the field. And in the field where small business owners discovered how limited their imaginations were, how limited their capabilities were, how restrictive their mindset was, that inhibited them from truly achieving anything beyond the very real limitations that they're going off on their own, out on their own, to start a small business created for them. So the E-Myth started, as I say, in 1977 with a dream, a vision, a purpose, and a mission. My partner and I, then his name was Thomas Travisano. Thomas is long gone. But Tom and I created the Michael Thomas Corporation. And we created the Michael Thomas Corporation for 4 reasons. The first was our dream, and our dream was explicitly stated. And I need you to hear explicitly stated, because the explicit statement of these things is critical to the truly elaborate creation of these things. The dream we had at the very outset in 1977, before we even opened our doors, was to transform the state of small business worldwide. That's what we set out to do. But having a dream, a great result in mind, was insufficient. We also had to have a vision. And our vision back then, in 1977, before we ever opened our doors, was to invent the McDonald's of small business development services. McDonald's, yes, the hamburger store.
Right.
To invent the McDonald's of small business development services. And we can go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into every one of these conversations. I can go deeper and deeper and deeper into our dream. I can go deeper and deeper and deeper into our vision. But understand, explicitly stated, to invent the McDonald's of small business development services. Our purpose back then, back then in 1977, before we opened our doors, our purpose was that every small business owner who believed in our mission could become as successful as a McDonald's franchisee. And some of them, with a little bit more effort, a little bit more attention, a little more kazam, you might say, could be as successful as Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's himself. And finally, way back then in 1977, before we opened our doors, Barry, we had a mission. And our mission was to invent the business development system that would enable us to realize our dream, realize our vision, realize our purpose, and realize our mission. So I had a dream, a vision, a purpose, and a mission. Now understand, those were not 4 accidental words. A dream, a vision, a purpose, and a mission comprise what it makes up to become a true entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur, according to our outcome way back then in 1977, an entrepreneur is 4 different personalities. An entrepreneur is a dreamer, a thinker, a storyteller, and a leader. A dreamer, a thinker, a storyteller, and a leader. Guess what? A dreamer has a dream, a thinker has a vision, a storyteller has a purpose, and a leader has a mission. And those 4 components of an entrepreneur establish the foundation for the creation of every great growing company on the planet. And I don't care what country it's in. I don't care what language it speaks. I don't care what marketplace it's pursuing. I don't care what its product. I don't care what its service. What I can tell you and every single one of our guests right now is this is a turnkey principle upon which every great growing company has been designed, built, launched, and grown. Get that? To design it, to build it, to launch it, to grow it. There's an eightfold path every single new entrepreneur must pursue, because to the degree you fail to pursue that path, you fail to grow a company worth growing. You end up doing it, busy, beating your brains out, trying to figure out how to solve all the little problems that keep on happening as you do it, working in your business instead of, as we've said for all these decades, working on your business to transform the lives of every single person who comes into contact with your business. That's the secret. You got it.
So first of all, thank you, wonderful Michael. Remember, to harmonize and network kindness. This is a kindness that you cannot buy. What happened here when you tuned into the joy of living is that you just had an explosive, mind-expanding, heart-expanding vision given to you. I want to unpack a couple of things, Michael. And first of all, everybody, yeah, I know you're feverishly writing. You don't have to remember all this. Just go to my website, www.whatawonderfulworld.barryshore.com, and all of the information, the myriad different places that Michael can be found are going to be there, because you're going to want to just lean in and let the transformation tsunami come over you. I want to unpack a few things. So I want to have fun with you. Remember, F-U, capital N, capital N. So you mentioned a number of things, of course, these different aspects of dreaming and thinking and storytelling and leading. And you mentioned McDonald's. I think for today, to bring it a little more au courant, we'll call it also Apple. Because Apple, I think, is probably the other end of the spectrum of that that business situation that involved all of those aspects, because nothing in Apple ever happened just because. It happened because, as you mentioned, it was a dreamer and a storyteller and a leader and a thinker, and every piece was in place. There is nothing out of sync in anything doing with Apple. So again, it's the McDonald's and Apple as your, let's say, anchor tenants in the mall called you. I think it's fun that you mentioned the eightfold path. Michael is, and he is not a Buddhist. So he's a Buddhist in the sense that he understands that everything in life can be illusion, and yet if you make it real, it won't be. Because most people, and I'm quoting something from the E-Myth, Michael, when I say this, most people in business don't live fully enough. They're existing because, as you said, they are, what's that great line you had one time? I think I remembered it. If your business depends on you, then you don't have a business, you have a job. And the worst part of that is you're working for a lunatic. Am I right? I mean,
right. Absolutely.
Yeah, because now the genius of what Michael's talking to us about, and he's not talking to us. He's sharing not just ideas. He's not an academic, even though he is. He is in the real world. There's a man who does millions of dollars in terms of money transactions, but that's not his purpose. His purpose is to help transform you. By the way, Michael, I use little acronyms and such. The acronym for the word joy is Journey of You. So when you're in business, the journey of you becomes something that touches other people. It's not about you unless you understand that the you and the I have to be united, because the word business, which is the essence of Michael Gerber. Michael Gerber is the essence of business. How do you spell business in English? B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S, right? Well, if you look at the word, what do you see? The you comes before the I. When the you is in place first and you recognize you're of service, then the I, everything will take care of itself. So I want to go to something really deep for you, Michael, that I'm thinking nobody has ever asked you before in terms of interviewing you. You ready?
Yep.
What instrument do you play? And what do you like most in music? Because I know you're a musical-oriented person.
Well, I play the saxophone. And when I say I play the saxophone, I'm going to say instead I played the saxophone. And I stopped playing the saxophone several years back, only several years back. You got to understand, I played the saxophone from the age of 10 to several years back. And I would bring out my saxophone constantly and play it. And I brought out my saxophone constantly and played it because the spirit of the horn lived inside of me so vibrantly, so effectively, so joyfully, so streamingly, so mystifyingly, that when I played it, it played me.
Yes.
So it's true that rather than playing the horn played me. In a most eloquent, most magical ways, the horn played me. I would pick it up and it would play, it would play, it would play. When that stopped, and it stopped because I wasn't picking it up enough, it stopped making love to me. And it stopped making love to me in a way that just was despairing. I've got it right over here in the closet. I could pick up my horn, but I couldn't play it because I would then try to play it and it wouldn't play me. It wouldn't respond to me. Having a horn that responds to you is as magical an experience as making love to your most absolutely thrilling wife, your most thrilling husband, your most thrilling partner. Playing that horn, that music, has been to me the most joyful experience of my life.
I am honored that you shared that with us. And the reason I asked is because I was hoping that it would be elicited and the notes would be coming forth and your animation would do that. Because what Michael has done with his business books, I think, is the analogy to what the horn did for you. In other words, these business books are literally musical notes. They're annotations of symphonies and operas and jazz raps and the syncopation of love that has been given over in these pages that resonates throughout the world. So what you've done with music really is in these books called E-Myth. And I think it's elicited from you something that is magical, what you just said. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, my delight.
Something else that for me has been I was mentored by some wonderful people, again, by Michael. Michael doesn't realize how much I know him, and because I've been an E-Myth user, not just a reader, a user for decades. And it's helped. I've made, thank God, millions and millions of dollars. Okay, I lost some millions of dollars also sometimes, but I've made millions and millions of dollars, but even more important, the money. I've built some businesses, some of which, by the way, are still extant today, decades after I built them, because I was able to sell them and they went on, but they didn't need me. That's the genius. They didn't need me. We built them and we were able to sell them, and they maintained as a business entity because they did two things, what I call T2 or T squared. And I'd like you to speak to this. I think business is both transactional and transformational. So I'll give a little bit of understanding what I'm saying, and then I'd like you to speak to it. Transactional in the sense that there needs to be relationship between what we call customers, suppliers. Those are transactional things because it's money changing hand and goods and services and such, but also transformational in the sense that customers want your service or your product and they become elevated by it. In other words, they know what they want to do with it, whether it's a pair of socks that expresses who you are, or it's a fancy Apple phone or whatever, or it's a great straw hat. It's transformational. Michael didn't buy a straw hat. He bought the Michael Gerber look. So there's transaction and then there's transformation. So if you be kind enough to, because for me, that's how I understand part of E-Myth. In other words, the 4 touches as you talk about in the book or the books. So would you speak to that, please?
Well, let me speak to each of those words, transactional and transformational. Transactional in one respect is very systemic. It's very mechanical. Transactional occurs delightfully when the mechanics work delightfully. So when you spoke about earlier that my music comes through my book, my music comes through my books, much like E.E. Cummings' music comes through his poetry. Paul Desmond's music comes through his alto saxophone. Stan Getz's music comes through his imagination as it's expressed in most eloquent terms. Everybody who is familiar with those names I just shared with you can appreciate then how those come alive in transactions within a company that are alive, that are vibrant, that are systemic, that are intended to please, to fulfill, to serve, to determine an outcome in a very elaborately consistent and effective fashion. So one invents that transactional process. One invents that systemic process. One invents that procedural process, which is methodological. As you can hear the sound of my voice, the music of the rhythm of my voice, as the rhythm of the transaction occurs, as we move through it, as we move through it, as we move through it. And it creates joy when it's manufactured, when it's designed, when it's purposely effected to the degree that those individuals within the spectrum of our reach are moved by it, just like you're moved by the sound of Paul Desmond's horn.
Oh, that's a sound. By the
Just
way,
like that.
Again, just go to my website, barryshaw.com, because you're going to want to listen to this again. You're going to want to share it with at least 5 people. Share it with 5 people, and there's 1.5 million people around the world are going to have it. And yeah, as good as Barry Shaw is, and I'm good. Michael Gerber, this is Maestro, kids. This is Maestro. You don't get this regularly. This is not just a podcast. This is an expression of love.
So understand and appreciate when that mechanical process becomes a machine, it dies. When that mechanical process becomes a machine, it dies. If I were to pick up my saxophone right now, I would show you the machine of my saxophone, the orchestration of those notes, the orchestration of those keys, the orchestration of the upper register to the lower register, the orchestration of all that is mechanical. But understand, the playing of it can never become mechanical. When my saxophone teacher told me, Michael, you practice the horn practices you. You don't make music, it makes you. You wait for it. And you wait for it as you go through the rigor of the scale, the rigor of the scale, the rigor of the scale. And he would move his hands just like I'm moving it right now. The rigor of the scale, this old man. And here I was, 11 years old in Hollywood, California, having gotten there by 2 buses for my music lesson to this great saxophone maestro. And he would teach me as though I was an adult. He would teach me by playing Benny Carter for me and saying, now you're going to play just like him. And one day after I'd memorized Benny Carter's I Can't Get Started, he called Benny Carter on the phone and he said, Benny, listen to this. And I played I Can't Get Started, Benny Carter's solo. And Benny said, and who was that? And he said, he's only 14 years old, Benny. And he hung up the phone.
Michael, that's not just a story.
So I'm telling you, so how can you not reflect upon that today at the age of 85, thinking back to how it was when I was a little boy, learning the genius of the saxophone and what music meant, to an old man who was teaching me his mastery, bringing his mastery into my life. How amazing when you ask me, so who mentored you, Michael? Merle mentored me, my saxophone teacher. And then the guy who taught me how to pick up a hammer and frame a house, to pick up a hammer and frame a house. On the plot, to pick up a hammer and frame the house. After I'd been living and making a living with my mouth, I decided I was going to make a living with my hands. And I decided that at the age of 38. At the age of 38, I went down the street knocking on doors to get a job as a carpenter. I wasn't a carpenter. I didn't even know what tools I was going to use. And I got to the door of a contractor and I pitched my wares, and one would hire me. And 2 minutes later, he would fire me. And another would hire me. And 7 minutes later, he would fire me. And another would hire me. And 17 minutes later, he would fire me. As I learned each and every time as I walked into that place, what I needed to learn, what I needed to know, what I needed to do. Why? Because I was determined again, I was going to learn how to work with my hands. And I became a pickup guy on a track by being taught, just like I had been taught how to play my horn. I'd been taught by this guy how to play the hammer, how to play the hammer, how to play the hammer, how to do the job like music is done, as this man lived it. This old carpenter, this old pickup man who taught me the tricks of the trade. It's extraordinary when you think about it, Barry, how many different ways we're served in this life we live.
About it. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back after this, because you don't want to miss a minute, a moment of Michael Gerber. It's just so wonderful. We'll be right back after this brief message. Hi, everybody. Barry Shaw here, the ambassador of joy. We've entered into the fall season, and fall means coming up to winter, holidays, all kinds of stuff, not just stuff, stress, S-T-R-E-S-S. You know, I've spoken about stress many times on the show, and with stress coming on with the holiday season, everybody wants to be happy and such, but everybody knows what's going on. I want to talk to you about something really important for your benefit. It's called Talkspace, Talkspace, Talkspace.com. This is an online therapy program, show, website, and it's available for you. It is so important for you to be involved. You all know my story. Standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, in the evening, quadriplegic. Okay, nobody has to go through something that drastic to know that speaking to somebody, a professional, licensed therapist, can be of benefit. I know it's true. It helped me. It can help you. This is so easy to do. You are talking about secure, professional process. It's the #1 online therapy platform in the country. It works around your schedule, your convenience. I urge you, please match yourself with a licensed therapist. Go to Talkspace.com, Talkspace, Talkspace.com. Get $100 off your first month with the promo code Barry, Barry. Go to Talkspace.com, put in the promo code Barry, Barry, and you'll get $100 off your first month. Please do it. You'll thank me. Best wishes. Bye now. Imagine the kind of place you would want to shop for your favorite fur baby pet. HonestPets.co. Well, you found it. HonestPets.co. Not .com, .co. This is your go-to spot for the best, the cleanest pet treats that exist anywhere on the planet. All of the brands go through a rigorous review to make sure they meet the high standards of cleanliness, health benefits, and naturalness. This site was started by a husband and wife team, and it's veteran-owned, and that care about pets, especially dogs and cats, and coming soon, bird treats. These are very nice young people who really care about making a difference, because a portion of proceeds go to support veteran organizations with a focus on service dogs. This is the place where you want to go. You want to tell your friends this has the finest, yummiest, freshest, all natural treats and stuff for your fur baby. So go there, honestpets.co, honestpets.co. Do it now. Okay, good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking. You're always looking for and finding the good. Have we found good overflowing? Our cup runneth over with good. And a two-legged being named Michael Gerber, and he's talking to us about business, because business is music. It's carpentry. It's flowing. It's in you. It's around you. It's all about you. If you're a real winner, you know what a real winner is? Somebody who is insatiable for knowledge. Someone who wants to strive forward every single day. One of the things I like a lot about Michael is he writes about an amazing being, an author, Carlos Castaneda, and his mythical figure, maybe, Don Juan. And the essence of that whole process, those books, is about this amazing word called action. A lot of people think, a lot of people have ideas, they want to write things down. By the way, we started this whole thing. Remember, Michael talked to us about explicitly putting forth your vision. He was clear about it. Explicitly. You need to write things down. You need to formulate, work it, and refine it. But unless you take action, what is it? Michael, please talk to us about action, like you've just been doing, about having the music come through you, picking up a hammer and other tools and such. What is it? What is action to a real business person?
Well, action moves us into the world. And understand, until that action moves us into the world, there is no reaction. And until we have a reaction into our movement into the world, until I play that scale, until that response to that playing of that scale occurs, I can't truly relate to the scale that I just played. I can't relate to the action I just took. I can't relate to the idea that I'd created, concocted in my mind, but hadn't an experience of. The experience of living is the most extraordinary, exhilarating, truly mesmerizing part of what it means to come alive. As it's been said, we're born in the image of God, which means, to me, we're born to create, which means we're born to create a world fit for God. And I live this belief that every single human being is brought to earth to create something that they're unaware of. And we're here to discover what that is. Ergo, the dreaming room, the dream, the vision, the purpose, and the mission is my process for discovering what that is. I'm saying, hear me, Barry, every human being, put them within my reach, and every human being can discover why he or she is here. And why you are here is the ball game. We like to say every life a legacy, every small business a school. If you go to my website, you'll see every life a legacy, every small business a school. Now, note when I say that, I don't say that some people live lives with a legacy. I say every life a legacy. You get to see what that legacy is before the day you pass. Imagine seeing it before you even begin. Imagine envisioning the legacy you're here to create before you even see it, before you even smell it, before you even taste it, before you ever understand it. Imagine at the very beginning of one's life, a legacy is calling you forward. Your life's purpose, your life's meaning is to discover what that legacy is and then live it with every last breath you've got.
And the genius of what he's saying is you. Remember, this show is only about you. Yeah, Barry Shore is a nice guy. Michael Gerber is a maestro. But it's not about Michael. It's not about Barry. This show is only about you. Y-O-U. That's why you tuned in. The 3 fundamentals of life: being happier, healthier, wealthier. And what Michael's also mentioning here is when you discover your legacy, guess what? Only you can do it. We need you. The world needs you. The notes that Michael's playing, or when the saxophone was playing him, if there was a particular note that was not in there, or it was a B flat and he couldn't figure out why it was not there, then it's not going to flow. We need you. The world needs you. We need you to understand that, as Michael's mentioned, and I think it's an E-Myth Revisited, maybe an E-Myth, this whole idea of becoming a warrior. And a warrior is different than just a regular person. A regular person sees events either a blessing or a curse. That's how people are if you're not attuned to your legacy. But when you become involved with your legacy, you become a warrior. And a warrior sees everything as a challenge. Am I correct on that, Michael?
Absolutely. Everything's a challenge. Everything's a challenge. Every day is a challenge. Every minute is a challenge. Every second is a challenge. To the degree you take that in, to the degree you absorb that reality, you begin to see that here at 85, I'm no older than I was at 17. I'm here having accumulated these massive experiences, which most people would say you could never have, you could never do, you could never be, you could never acquire. And all of that has occurred simply because every single moment of every single day, I'm dealing with what appears to be impossible, but what in reality is not only possible, but it's electrically alive. Every single one of us, to the degree you live your life this way, on this path, something absolutely stunning will arise within you. Absolutely guaranteed. You can put it in the bank.
Wait a minute. At the beginning of the show, I told you, you listen to what we're going to talk about today. You'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier, which is the shorthand of what he just said. Guaranteed. I guaranteed it. Michael Gerber just guaranteed it. You got a guarantee from the most famous, and correctly so, not just the author of books on business, a businessman. He builds businesses. What he really does, by the way, he builds people. You see, the genius of a business is that it's a reflection of you, how you are in your, let's say, at your desk. Is your desk messy or neat? Are you messy or neat? Are you doing things in a methodical way? Are you doing things haphazard? Isn't that right, Michael? I mean, that's part of what E-Myth is all about, is that business is a mirror of who you are.
A business is a mirror of who you are, and it's a mirror of who you wish to become. But most inspiringly, a business is what you've come to be. A business is what you've come to be. I am. At the heart of your business, I am. And I am here. It's the most eloquent, most extraordinarily brilliant thing any one of us can be. I am here. I am not there. I'm not there. I am here. And I am here is a statement of life. It's a statement of being. It's a statement of exasperation, if you will, with our inability to be here right now. Try it, to be here right now. Not there, right here, right now. And instantly you'll experience the genius of I am. I am. I am.
Michael Gerber, and this is, please accept this as a huge compliment. He owns the Philosopher's Stone. When he just said to you in those few words, he put together Alan Watts' Zen philosophy, Baba Ram Das, and Wayne Dyer and God, because God wrote in the Bible, what people call the Old Testament, the first 5 books of Moses, said, God's name is I am that I am. And Wayne Dyer has a remarkable meditation called I am that I am. But you just put all of them together, and you did it, by the way, in the most wondrous place, because you do it with business. See, business, sometimes people have truly a warped understanding what business is. Business is built on service. Business is built only for givers, not for takers. When you're a warrior, you're a giver. The word challenge is a very interesting word, Michael. I think you might like this. So challenge, of course, we spell in English CHALLENGE, right? Challenge. If you underline the first 3 letters of challenge, CHA, and the last 3 letters of challenge, NGE, you have the word change. Now, change is a wonderful thing. In business, we say, hey, change is great. You go first, right? You've heard that. You know? But the middle letters of the word challenge are LLE. And LLE stands for let, love, embrace, change. See, Michael has given us formulas to be able to not worry about change, but to embrace change, and embrace it in such a way that it allows us to be that transformative agent, that literally we become the music that is now brought forth into the world. And it doesn't matter if your small business is a lemonade stand on a corner, or it sells the most important widgets in the world and everybody wants them. It's what you're doing in the sense of bringing forth your manifestation of your dream. And by the way, sorry, I'm going to make your head swell again, because good thing you're wearing your hat. There's nobody in the world, more capable, more dedicated, more loving in this aspect than Michael Gerber. There isn't anybody. He's dedicated decades of his life to ensuring the success of others. May I say it again? He's dedicated his life to ensuring the success of others. Is there any way better to live? I don't think so. I mean, come on, Michael, that's kind of amazing. Your parents are really applauding you up in heaven, you know, and Luz loves you for it, because, yeah, Luz is this wonderful wife. See, this is what life is all about. We live joyously because we pursue this great this vision of transforming the world. That's what he wants to do, transforming the world. He's not playing around. He's making it happen.
Let me read this. It's called The New E-Myth. The E-Myth is a legendary entrepreneurial development brand, a half-century in process, invented and authored by Michael E. Gerber, the man Inc. magazine calls the world's #1 small business guru. Today, upon its 44th year anniversary, the E-Myth, propounded in 29 E-Myth world-renowned books, read by millions worldwide in 30 different languages, taught in 118 major universities, delivered to hundreds of thousands of small business owners through its elite coaching deliverables since its founding in 1977, taught online through the Radical U 5-year tutorials, and mentored through its uniquely inspirational Dreaming Room mentoring initiative. Thus is the E-Myth to the present time. What then is the new E-Myth? And why is it so important to the troubled and troubling world of small business, the preponderance of whom are called by Michael E. Gerber the smallest of the small? Well, economic development has been a continuing struggle for those we refer to as the smallest of the small. The challenge, and this is why I decided I was going to read this, the challenge newly inclined small business owners face is beyond struggle. It is monumental and categorically the most pernicious economic development problem faced worldwide. Think about it from the failure rate perspective. According to the Small Business Administration, 77% of new businesses fail in their very first year. 77%. What happens to those who survive that debacle is hardly illuminating, in that fully 93% of all of the remaining new businesses fail to survive their 6th anniversary. In short, it is not overly dramatic when we say that all small businesses fail. Yes, all of them, but a mere handful. What then? What then is exactly what the new E-Myth has been created to serve. In the new E-Myth, you don't try to fix broken businesses like our competitors attempt to do. In the new E-Myth, we've designed, built, launched, and grown, note the word, of the chaos which exists throughout the world of small business. In the new E-Myth, we start our relationship with our student clients, the smallest of the small, in my words, on a blank piece of paper with a beginner's mind. In short, in the new E-Myth, our focus isn't on old code. In the new E-Myth, our focus is on new code. We don't focus on fixing what's broken. We focus instead upon a completely new state of mind. Which speaks, Barry, to everything you speak about in every one of your podcasts, in everyone you speak to every single day of your life, ever since you were struck dumb all those years ago and woke up and said, who the hell am I?
Well said, sir. Michael, I love you. I have 2 quick questions, and then the time has gone by fast, but and then we'll give a blessing to everybody. So first question is, ready?
Yes.
Will you come back again?
Of course.
Thank you. Number 2, I know the answer because you just read it, but in 80 seconds, what is your most fervent desire?
My most fervent desire is to transform the state of small business worldwide. Absolutely, 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 without fail, to transform the state of small business worldwide. I started out in 1977 to do that, and I'm doing that to this very moment, at this very time that you and I stand here and say, I will become that who is capable of transforming the state of the world.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you for that.
Transformer. Now, I'm going to give you a hug in front of, now we're up to 362,000 people. Are you ready, sir? Let me tell you what HUG stands for. You ready? HUG stands for
Yes.
Heartfelt, Unlimited Giving. Heartfelt, unlimited giving. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. You're listening to because you consciously tuned into the joy of living with your humble host, Barry Shore, our amazing persona, not guest, persona, Michael Gerber. And we're here because of you. You want to be the best you possible. That's why you tuned in. When you're the best you build bridges, create more harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. You know the 3 fundamentals of life. Your life has purpose. You just heard from Michael. You find your purpose, you go mad. That's number 2. MAD stands for make a difference. You could be like Michael Gerber, making a difference in the world. Number 3, unlock the power and the sequence of everyday words and terms. Use these terms like WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. As my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in. As Michael said, create, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Use 4-letter words, but in the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant way. Love, life, hope, grow, free, give, swim, pray, play, and tell the world, F you. Capital N, capital N, remember that. And use the 2 most powerful words in the English language every day 3 times. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, wonderful Michael Gerber. And we're going to give the blessing. Our blessing from Michael and myself is, go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.